Hey guys, Viasak here. I wasn't planning on making a video today, but I saw that you guys made some good comments today, and so I decided to, make this video real quick. The comments here. Also, you might see this on my phone. It's charging right now. It's a good thing I have a thing with it that I can bring it up like this. Okay, so first comments, and I won't be making another video like this for a short while. Anyway. So the first comment was, great discussion. As a subscriber, I do have a question that might have been covered earlier. If so, I'll eventually find it. My question involves the purchase of a real doll. After watching the documentaries of that factory, it is amazing that what effort they put into the dolls. So I am wondering, just out of curiosity, how did you get introduced to that company as a potential customer? It was it by coincidence during shopping for a doll? Was it mainly a specific model? In other words, the state of the art products they offered that mainly attracted you to that top company? Thanks. And of course, I just answered. Well, for one, especially at the time, about almost 10 years ago when I first discovered it, there was there weren't really that many high-end, doll love doll companies at the time, and they also are still one of the few doll makers that don't make them look underaged to this day. For one, they have dolls that look like they're 20 to 30 years of age, like a more proper age. They're among the most customizable out of every love doll in the planet. The site doesn't come across as creepy or filthy or silly like I actually do seem, with other sites. They seem kind of silly sometimes, when they introduce their adult lineup of dolls. Everything is mature and clean, you know? The only thing that was, you know, that I didn't really like, of course, was just the price. They're kind of overpriced. I mean, Jesus. I mean, especially at the time, a real doll 2, as they called it used to call it at the time, it was like freaking $7,000 to $8,000 on average. And I was looking at a couple of them at the time. Yeah, 8 to 9,000. With shipping, handling, all that. Jesus fucking Christ. I mean, they are just fucking expensive. And even the one I was kind of looking at the time, because I was looking for the ones that were kind of cheaper, I was like, I'm not paying that much, and it was still around at least $6,000 to $7,000 just for that doll. And I'm just like, man, fuck this, because it's not like I couldn't save that kind of money at the time, but I was just like, there's other shit I needed at the time, and buying one of those things was just like buying a car, And I would say I was first introduced to from Amazon actually. I was just looking, stuff up on Amazon actually, and I saw, hey, a silicone love doll on Amazon. I mean, of course, soon after I saw that it was a knockoff version, luckily. But I was like, hey, let's look up, these silicone love dolls, blah blah blah. And then suddenly, the real doll site came up. It was like, high end love dolls, huh? And then I clicked on it. I was like, holy shit, this is like awesome. I've never, because, my impression at the time up until then was that, love dolls didn't look realistic. They looked like something like a blow up doll or something, but, there it was right there. But man, was it fucking expensive, let me tell you. Just way too fucking much. Oh my god. Anyway, next one. This person just simply stated sex robots would be commonplace in 10 to 15 years. And I just simply said agreed if they already aren't. But you never know. And this person states, I had a Christian say, what are you going to say when you're in a lake of fire burning in it for eternity? Oh, God. It sometimes just makes me laugh every time I hear a Christian say that. It's all playing on fear. You'll be screaming in pain forever if you don't do as we say. That's not a God that does that. That's a psychopath. And these people, due to their beliefs, are psychopaths. If you intend to manipulate and control people via fear, especially imaginary, then you are a sociopath. Think of the children. That's another one that plays on fear, yet ignores the dark reality that most child abuse occurs within families with relatives. And I said, yeah, I don't think some of them are real Christians either. Now, Christianity a long time ago, it actually started out as a cult. In fact, pretty much every religion has started out as a cult, actually. And that's part of the reason why, even to this day, sometimes you see some of the control freaks that you see nowadays within, I would say, so-called religion. Of course, these people tend to be false idols. They aren't really Christians. They're just a-holes. And, just like in my What Christians Think of Love Dolls video, you're making your God look like a fucking control freak asshole is what you're making him look like. You're not making him look like this nice, caring person and blah, blah, blah. You're making your God look like an asshole because you're trying to control everything that your followers do. You're trying to scare them away from education, which is why I thought it was so silly when, that typo of them saying shit like, well, if you don't want to, be confronted with this information, blah, blah, blah. If I was writing that, I would have just stated, hey, don't be afraid to educate yourself. Because, sometimes these things need to be known. Of course, I would never tell anybody to, buy a love doll, but I would at least say, hey, I would recommend that you at least educate yourself a bit. Don't shy away from education. And don't let people, fear you from education just because you learned something. Doesn't mean that you're going to turn to the dark side or something. Like, that's just ridiculous. Next thing. And this person states, as a Christian, I don't see why sex or love dolls and robots are something we need to label as a sin. I personally have a love doll after I went through my own morality of it is sin or not. I think for a single guy like myself, who still wants to wait for marriage, a doll is way better than going for hookers or brothels or pumping and dumping and even going as far as simping. Nice. And I just told him, yeah, I agree. But, and of course, with my video that I made, I'm not, of course, trying to make Christians look bad. At least, not the legit Christians, of course, or the good people. Because, there's in every group and every race, etc., there's always going to be good and bad people. And, just like, if somebody is a love doll owner, but is kind of a jackass to me on my channel, I'm going to tell them to fuck off. Just because you're a love doll owner and I'm a love doll owner doesn't mean I'm going to like you. And that's just how it is. But, I will also let people know that just because they saw one crazy person with a love doll doesn't mean that we're all like that. And just because I have a love doll doesn't mean that I look at all women like they're sex objects. In fact, I try to teach against that, if anything. Like, and when they talk about in religion about, adultery as a sin, it's like, well, sex is sex. our bodies are made for sex. That's just how it is. That's just nature. But, if you're just irresponsibly just going around, just having sex with people on the street, well, that's just ridiculous, That I would say would be, a good moral compass, to say the least. Now, of course, with that being said, I actually also know a lot of Christians myself. My father is a Christian, uncle, cousins, etc. Of course, my father doesn't agree with me having a love doll. Well, that's just how it is sometimes. My father thinks it's weird and all that, but how it is sometimes. And again, with that being said, I will end the video. If there's any more comments, questions, etc., put them down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.